Also happening this morning, reaction from Jena, Louisiana, after a major reversal in a case that has split a community along racial lines. The Jena 6, black teenagers in Louisiana charged with beating a white student last December. Now the conviction of one of those young men has been tossed out. Here now, a look back at how we got to this point. The chain of events began under this tree at Jena High School. Like the town itself, the school is mostly white. The unwritten rule was that the tree was a meeting place for white students only. But last year, several black students sat under the tree. The next day, 3 nooses hung from the branches. To the black community, the message was clear.
I was very offended because that's a racial slur against us.
But some white residents said it was no big deal.
I think a couple boys made a mistake, but I think it's all being blown out of proportion.
From there, tension between white and black students escalated. Then in December, a white student, Justin Barker, was knocked unconscious and kicked as he lay on the ground. Some said Barker provoked the fight, but his parents told us Justin didn't do anything, and they believed he could have been killed.
Several lacerations in both sides, both ears was kind of really damaged, and both eyes. His right eye was the worst. It had blood clots in it.
This is the picture taken by police at the hospital. Justin was released the same day and attended a school ceremony later that night. A few days later, 6 black classmates were charged with attempted murder. Carwin Jones, Bryant Purvis, Robert Bailey Jr., and Theodore Shaw all faced the prospect of life in prison. A 5th teenager, whose name hasn't been released, was also charged with attempted murder as a juvenile. Charges against Jones and Shaw were later reduced to aggravated second-degree battery and conspiracy to commit battery, which could mean more than 20 years in prison. In June, Mychal Bell, the first to go on trial, was found guilty of the same charges. He was supposed to be sentenced on September 20th. It had taken an all-white jury 3 hours to reach the verdict. Now, however, a Louisiana appeals court has ruled that Bell should have been tried as a juvenile, and his adult convictions have been thrown out.
We're happy right now, but tomorrow's another day. We are prepared for any contingency that may arise in this case. The first step was to get the conviction reversed. Now we have other hurdles that we have to go through in this particular case.
District Attorney Reed Walters now has the option of filing the same charges against Bell in juvenile court. In the meantime, Bell remains locked up in jail where he has been since the attack at the school last December.
And our Sean Calebs is in Jena, Louisiana this morning. He joins us by phone. Sean, you met with Mychal's mother and attorney last night. What's their reaction to this ruling?
Well, the attorney is thrilled. They said that clearly this is the first step that needed to be done in their effort to free this young man who was 16 when he was sentenced as an adult. Mychal Bell's mother, Melissa, was a lot more subdued. It's been a long, difficult time for her in talking with her, and she met yesterday with her son, who also was apparently very stoic in hearing this information. The way the Bells look at it, they're going to be a lot more excited once the doors to the jail swing open and he is allowed to leave. What we heard from the attorney last night is Mychal Bell could easily spend at least the next 2 weeks in jail, and they fully expect the district attorney will refile these charges. And there's also the possibility the DA could try and bump up the charges and pursue charges against Mychal Bell as an adult.
So they don't see the DA backing down at all in this case. This case pretty much is still going to go forward just in juvenile court?
Exactly. It doesn't have to go forward in juvenile court, but that's certainly where everybody is looking right now. They believe the DA is certainly digging his heels in. And the DA also points out he's basically characterized Mychal Bell as someone who wasn't a choir boy. He had 4 convictions already as a juvenile, and that was one of the reasons, apparently, the DA decided to pursue charges against Mychal Bell and 4 others, now called the Jena 6, as adults.
All right, in light of the fact that the charges were thrown out, a civil rights protest was planned for next Thursday. Is that still expected to happen?
Yes, it is. We talked with Al Sharpton's office yesterday, also Jesse Jackson by phone, and Martin Luther King III apparently is going to be here as well. And they're expecting it could be a huge turnout, perhaps as many as 30,000 people descending on the town of Jena. Now, let's put this in perspective. Jena is a very small town, 4 stoplights, a Walmart, a McDonald's, about 2,900 people. If they get 30,000 people there, the sheriff has already taken steps to try and declare the area an emergency zone so people could bring in more law enforcement officers. Everyone certainly expects this demonstration, this protest will be peaceful, but the sheriff wants to make sure there's enough law enforcement personnel on the ground to deal with what could be just a huge, huge crowd in this small town.
Yeah. We will be watching, definitely. Sean Caleb joining us live on the phone from Jena, Louisiana this morning. Thank you for that, Sean.